Everyone knows that feeling, wanting to experience more stories, but struggling to find the time. That's where Audible changes everything. With over 1 million audiobooks and Audible originals, there's a story waiting to spark anyone's imagination. Take The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, the gripping psychological thriller that's keeping listeners on the edge of their seats. Imagine unraveling its mysteries during your morning commute, or losing yourself in its twists and turns while doing household chores. That's the magic of Audible. It transforms daily routines into opportunities for thrilling discoveries. The best part? Members get access to thousands of included titles, with new content added regularly. From bestsellers to hidden gems, every genre imaginable is at their fingertips. And with one easy-to-use app, switching between favorites or discovering new passions has never been simpler. There's more to imagine when you listen. Start a free 30-day Audible trial and get your first audiobook free at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
Now it's time for Inspirational Women, and my guest, Aubrey Zoli, the Senior Development Manager for the American Cancer Society here in our Puget Sound area. And she's coordinating the non-competitive Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk. That's just a few weeks away, and it's a very important fundraiser, and for many good reasons. Audrey's here to provide us with the details so we can be involved, be supporters. Aubrey Zoli, good morning, and thanks so greatly for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited because it is a big day, but we'll get to the reason for this being the big day a little later on. The big news, though, or information we want to share, of course, is the fact that there is a big walk coming up here in a few weeks, Making Strides Against Breast Cancer.
Yeah, we're very excited to be back this year at Gasworks Park. The walk this year is on Saturday, October the 21st, so coming up in about 3 weeks here. It's hard to believe that October is starting. Not quite ready for that, but I'm loving the fall weather, and we're excited to see everybody out, and we're fingers crossed for good weather on the 21st.
Absolutely. But rain or shine or rain, we're going to be out there and we're really going to be making an impact and making our presence felt, right?
Absolutely. A big part of our event, it is a fundraising event. We certainly are trying to raise money for the American Cancer Society. But the other part of this is an opportunity for our breast cancer community in Seattle to come together. We celebrate survivors and thrivers, which are those in our community living with metastatic breast cancer, and family members, caregivers, honoring those lives lost to breast cancer. And it's a real big opportunity for the community to come together and then also spread awareness throughout the Fremont community as our 5K walk takes us from Gasworks into downtown Fremont and then back to the park.
That is so great. And really, this is an event that is open and available to anyone. The walk is really quite simple, although I guess if someone is in really challenging circumstances, you can just wait at the park for the walkers to go and return again.
Absolutely. Our event, we try to make it as inclusive as possible. There's no registration fee to participate. Again, we certainly encourage fundraising, that anybody can come and be there with us. And yes, you're correct. If someone can't walk, you are welcome to hang out at Gasworks while people are out on the route and then be there to cheer people in when they come back in. So we certainly welcome anybody to come participate. The walk itself, the whole event starts at 8:30 is when our event site opens, and we have a variety of booths from our sponsors as well as local vendors where people can come down, get some fun swag. They can take a photo in our giant pink chair. We have a digital photo booth. We have a stride shop where folks can pick up some cool Making Strides merchandise that all comes back to our event. And then they can just hang out until we have our opening remarks, which starts just about 9:30. We have some pretty great MCs this year. And so we'll be having the ceremony about 9:30, and then the actual route opens at 10 a.m. And most folks finish, by about 10:45, 11 o'clock. We also have a fun Bark for Breast Cancer, which our event is dog friendly. So if you have a furry friend in your life that you want to bring around, you can dress them up, and we have a little costume contest. We have Homeward Pet Adoption Center is out there as our Bark sponsor, and they vote on the top 3 best dressed doggies, and they get to choose from a variety of gift bags. And then at 11:15, we have our closing remarks, and the whole event is over by 11:30.
Boy, that is a really packed and yet compact event time with, I mean, it sounds exciting just hearing about it.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. We've got a really large group of community partners this year for sponsorship that have all different kinds of fun activities planned. We have a face painter as well for the young ones and the older ones. Anyone can get their face painted. But yeah, it'll be a really fun time. And again, an opportunity to honor the survivors and thrivers in our community. We have a big Survivor Thriver tent where we pass out gift bags and they get complimentary food. So we're excited to spread some love to those in our Survivor and Thriver community.
That is a really important focus, I feel, because it attests to what all the fundraising dollars that go toward research have really managed to do. I mean, we know there's many, many strides left to make, but still the fact that we have the survivors and the thrivers that we do attests to what has happened because of these donations, because of the dollars invested.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm really proud to say that, the American Cancer Society is the number one funder of cancer research, second only to the U.S. government. And we have been a part of pretty much every major research discovery in breast cancer specifically. And we're really proud to say that we are leading the way when it comes to breast cancer research. And not just with our research, but also with the services that we offer, which is something that we always want to highlight, including programs like we have something called Reach to Recovery, which is actually specifically for breast cancer patients. If you've been diagnosed recently and you want to connect with another survivor who has had your same type of cancer, these are volunteers that offer their guidance through their own cancer journey to help you through yours. So we have our Reach to Recovery program. We have our Road to Recovery program, which provides transportation to people who don't have access to a vehicle during their cancer treatment, so they can take them to doctor's appointments, to chemo, to radiation. And then we also have other programs like our NCIC, which is our 800 number that's available to people 24/7, 365. If you've got questions, if you're up in the middle of the night wondering about what's going to happen, there's someone there to take your call. So all of the money that's raised for our walk goes to support those really, really critical, important programs that the American Cancer Society provides to those cancer patients. And, right now we're looking at more than 4 million breast cancer survivors in the U.S., which is pretty incredible considering, 20, 30 years ago, we didn't have as optimistic results as we do now. And so the biggest thing for folks when it comes to cancer is early detection. And that's one thing that we're always promoting is making sure that people are getting those cancer screenings so that if they do have, they do find cancer, they have more opportunities by finding it early.
Absolutely. Well, these services, the connections that are made in the 800 number, how do we find that, or where will we find that information?
The best place to go is our cancer.org website. And so you can click right in our page. There's a programs and services option right at the very top of the page. And if you click on that, you'll be able to access all of the information for the services that we provide, like Road, Reach. We also have a lodging program that we support people who may be traveling from out of town to get their treatment. We have partners that we work with that put people up for free or for discounted stays. And then, of course, there's always other things that people may need if they're going through breast cancer treatment, like mastectomy products or wigs or things like that. So there's a variety of resources, but cancer.org is a one-stop shop to find out all of that information.
Oh, that is so great. Keeping it simple, because then we can just search for whatever it is that we need at that moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. And thinking about resources, and I want to get back to the walk again, but another big focus this month of October is National Awareness Day for Mammography. How does that read?
Yeah, so October 20th is National Mammography Day, so it's just an opportunity to remind everybody to schedule their mammograms to try to get in before the end of the year. Most people do have the opportunity to get, with insurance or even without, there are resources available for people who are uninsured to get an annual mammogram. We do have our cancer screening guidelines on the cancer.org website. For breast cancer, we encourage women 45 plus to get mammograms starting at age 40 if they are able. We certainly encourage younger women, including especially those who may have a family history of breast cancer. The best thing to do is to talk with your own doctor to find out which cancer screenings are right for you. But we have a document on our website that you can even print off and take to your doctor's office to talk to them about what cancer screenings you might need. But mammography is obviously one of the biggest research things that we had discovered in terms of being able to detect breast cancer early. And so we certainly encourage everyone who is able to get a mammogram. And there's more information on the cancer.org website as well if you are looking for a place to get your cancer screenings.
Great. So lots of bases covered. And it's true, there are opportunities for mammograms that are at no cost or very low cost. But that's all the more reason where we need to think about making donations to the Cancer Society, to making donations specifically here, to making strides to really raise those funds, have those funds available for these important situations.
Absolutely. A big part of our programming is our American Cancer Society's Cancer Action Network, or we call it ACS-CAN, and they're actually the legislative branch of what the American Cancer Society does. And they're working with legislators to, expand things like Medicare so that people who don't have insurance have better access to not just the pre-screening, but then also should they be diagnosed with cancer. There's something that we say with the American Cancer Society is that your zip code is actually more important than your genetic code when it comes to a cancer diagnosis, because that's a really big determinant on someone's cancer outcome. And evidence of this is, within our Black community, Black women are less likely to get breast cancer, but they have a 41% mortality rate increased over white women just because of those social determinants of health and differences with insurance, access to care, pre-screenings. And so that's something that the American Cancer Society is tirelessly working toward, is to make sure that everybody has the equitable access to, find, prevent, and treat cancer so that they can come on the other side of it.
Oh, that is so huge. We couldn't underscore and put exclamations on that any stronger than that. And I think that attests to the reason that another major reason that we need to support the work of the American Cancer Society.
Absolutely. I'm really proud to work here. It's a personal cause that's near and dear to me. Both my mom and my aunt are survivors. I've been doing breast cancer fundraising for coming up on 20 years. So I've obviously met a lot of people throughout that time who have gone through it. People that didn't have breast cancer when I first started this journey have since gotten breast cancer. I've lost far too many people, but knowing that there are so many different options now for people, more targeted treatment therapies, the research discoveries that we're working on right now are really incredible. And one of the really great things is living here in the Seattle area in Washington State, we have some of the top research centers in the entire country. And I'm proud to say that we actually invest more money locally from the American Cancer Society to researchers here than we actually raise in the state of Washington. So as far as money coming back to our direct community, that money is coming back in the form of research dollars as well as the programs and services that we offer to our patients.
Huge. That is just so amazing. So it takes all of us, and I know times are challenging, finances are challenging these days, and yet when we look at our health, there's like no dollar amount we can put on it. So all of us, I think, we never know what the future days can mean for us. So to invest whatever amount we can, nothing is too little. It really is not just, it is in our best interest, but in our greater community, we're really all in this together.
Absolutely. And the sad fact of it is, if you are one of the fortunate people who hasn't had cancer affect your life, I hate to say, but the chances are in your lifetime you will find someone, if it's yourself or someone else will be touched by cancer in some way. And so having the different treatment options, the research that we're working on to improve those treatment options for people, that's really important. And it's something to think about for the future, as well as just people's genuine health. And that's something that we really care about, as well as the treating of cancer. We also care about the prevention of cancer. And so there are ways that people can prevent cancers. It's pretty amazing now that we have the HPV vaccine, which can actually protect against 6 different types of cancer. And so that's something for those of you who have younger kids between the ages of 9 and 12. talk to your physician, your child's physician, about the HPV vaccine, which is huge because if you can prevent cancer through a vaccine, that's pretty incredible. And so there's just different ways that we are expanding upon helping people prevent cancer, living healthier lifestyles, giving them guidelines for making sure that, they protect themselves in the sun. Cancer screenings, again, huge thing to making sure that people have the opportunity to just live a healthier life. And then when it comes to actually investing in the American Cancer Society, like you said, it's not something that may be a personal thing to you right now, but chances are in your lifetime, it will be a personal thing to you.
Yes, sad but true. And hopefully with this investment now, and we keep growing in awareness and education, maybe we will come to a day when cancer is not the kind of dire diagnosis, that we've been accustomed to hearing, that it will be maybe like having the flu.
Absolutely. I've always joked that the day that I'm out of a job because we don't have to fight cancer anymore is a pretty good day. That's the day that I'll be happy to have. So, it's something that we've definitely made a lot of advancements, but we still have a lot of work to do. Again, going back to those health disparities and looking at different communities who have, lower incidence rates but higher mortality rates, and how do we make sure that that does not happen? Because if we're working on our plan to eradicate cancer forever, we have to make sure that we're including all of the groups that get cancer, which is everyone. Cancer doesn't discriminate. And so that's something that we're tirelessly working on, is figuring out those populations that need the most support and need the most help because they don't have equitable access to screenings, to care. And so we're working really hard to make sure that everybody has that equitable access.
So, Aubrey, thinking in terms of being able to get more of the equitable access, has this become better since we've been able to use technology more in terms of Zoom calls with physicians? I know we need to have in person as well, but has that helped over the last few years, especially during the pandemic, of making connections with, persons with concerns with the medical profession?
Yes and no. Unfortunately, I will say with the pandemic, it actually put us back, because one thing virtual visits can't do is our cancer screenings. And we had a lot of people, unfortunately, understandably so, with the pandemic and people being told, don't go to the doctors unless you have COVID. We're looking, unfortunately, at an additional 10,000 deaths from cancer because of the pandemic. So thinking not just in, obviously, the number of lives that were lost during COVID, but also the number of people now that will be negatively impacted by, getting a cancer diagnosis because they didn't get their screenings during the pandemic. And so that's something that we're still playing catch up on, and we are seeing our screening rates get back to pre-COVID levels, which is great, but we still have some work to do. And so with this interview, if it reminds one person to go get their cancer screening, I feel that will have done justice. Hopefully more people do and remind themselves to try to get in before the end of the year. And I just wanted to add a note to, be patient with our screening centers. They're very, very overwhelmed. They're really trying to make up that time. A lot of them are understaffed. And so if you have to get in and it's going to take you a few months, that's why I want to remind people now, because a lot of places are booking 3, 4, 5 months out in advance. But better to get on the schedule, ask them to put you on a waiting list to get you in sooner, but just have patience and knowing that all of our screening centers are trying really hard to catch up to the people that, missed out during the pandemic.
I'm glad you've mentioned that, Aubrey, because that point about being understaffed is really sad that we're in that situation, but that is the case. So getting on the list, that's the important thing. Make the appointment, even if one has to wait. It's better to at least get started now rather than waiting until maybe there is a sign of something that is distress. So yeah, make that appointment.
Absolutely. Yeah, screenings are, definitely, like I mentioned, if you have the opportunity to get them once a year, that's what we recommend. Like I mentioned on the website, we have a whole page about screening in terms of guidelines, not just for breast cancer, but for colorectal cancer and other cancers where we have the opportunity to have screening. Not all cancers have that, unfortunately. We were working to get to a place where we can have screenings for as many cancers as possible, because unfortunately certain cancers, by the time they present, we don't have as many options. But there are many cancers out there that are highly treatable if they're found early, and so that's why we want to encourage folks to get those cancer screenings. And also, one thing just to mention with mammograms, I can't tell you how many people I talk to that are afraid to go get one, and it's totally understandable. But we, again, have a lot of resources on our website to kind of talk you through that. Knowing for those people who may be having their very first mammogram, that can be really scary because sometimes people get called back after their first mammogram, which is actually pretty normal because if you think about it, they don't have anything to compare the images to. So they may call you back for some additional testing just to make sure, because it's not totally normal to do that when they don't have any history. But we have actually a great document online that talks about breast density, which is also something that plays into mammography. So you can find all of those resources available on our cancer.org website.
And having been, of course, in that position myself of having to have mammograms, and I've had more than a few, and also have had the callback. And yes, there is that kind of gulp thinking, oh my gosh, what's happening? But it's always turned out well, although once I needed to have a biopsy, and even that turned out really positively. So I think that should just be encouraging of how being proactive and on top of the situation is really in our best interest. And also looking forward, I guess, if you're looking forward or having the first one, over the years, I've noticed how it's not as, it doesn't feel so attacking on the body. I think the equipment has really improved. I don't know
Absolutely.
what you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, we're definitely making advancements. And there's also something too, for folks who maybe have denser breast tissue, they may order some additional screenings like ultrasounds or different types of mammograms. So just know that it's not a one size fits all when it comes to breast imaging, and that there may be different types of things that you need to have done just to make sure. But again, I always refer people to our 800 number because they're literally there 24/7 to answer your questions. So if you have concerns, I also will say advocate for yourself. Don't be afraid to get a second opinion. If something's going on and you don't feel confident in what's going on, advocate for yourself and your body and your health. And so you always have the option of getting a second opinion if you're not comfortable with what's happening, or if you have questions. Listen to your gut, get a second opinion, and know that there are resources available to you. If you should find yourself with a positive cancer diagnosis, we're there to help support you.
Absolutely. Oh, that is such excellent information, and attests to why it's important to follow with getting your mammogram, but also in terms of really being in this together as a community and supporting the ongoing work of the American Cancer Society, is to turn up for the walk on October 21st, which Making Strides for Breast Cancer. But if you can't, Aubrey, we can still make donations online, correct?
Absolutely. You can visit our Making Strides website, which is makingstrideswalk.org/Seattle WA, and that donation will come directly to our Seattle event. If you're not in the Seattle area, we do have an event in Snohomish County in downtown Everett on the 28th of October. And then if you happen to be visiting and hearing this and don't live here, you can always go to the makingstrideswalk.org site and search for your local strides. We have over 150 walks across the country. We are the largest breast cancer movement in the country, and really excited to celebrate with folks this month for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, all of the incredible people in our community. And we really do look at ourselves as we're more than just a walk. We really are a community of people. We are in touch with our constituents year round. This isn't the type of thing where you just show up, walk, and never hear from us again. We really want to be a part of your cancer journey, whether that's you're facing a diagnosis, someone that you care is facing a diagnosis. We are here to support you, not just during the walk, not just during, the pink month of October, but really year round. The American Cancer Society is here to support you in any way that we can.
So perfect. And that being the whole big picture and looking ahead this month. But today, this Sunday, is a pretty big day down at Mariner Village, if we call it that, but at Lumen Field, right? Because it's pink at the park.
Yeah, we have Pink at the Park at T-Mobile on Sunday. So we started this last year and had a really great time. And so this is our second annual Pink at the Park. We have a special block of tickets that you can grab. They're available until 5 p.m. today. And it's going to be potentially a nail-biter of a game. It's the last regular season game. I know we're all fingers crossed that the Mariners are going to pull off an amazing weekend here. Last night's game was pretty incredible. So it's the last regular season game, and we have a block of tickets where you can purchase, and it includes a really awesome custom Pink at the Park t-shirt that you can pick up at the game, and then also $10 from each ticket comes back to our event. So there's lower level seats, the what they call main level for $45, and then the upper bowl seats for $28. And again, $10 comes back to us, and you get a t-shirt, and you can pick those up until 5 p.m. I realize this will be airing and the game will be happening, so you won't be able to buy tickets. But if you are there, if you're at the game, stop by and say hi. I'll be on the upper level concourse where you pick up your T-shirt, and you can learn more about making strides at the game.
So perfect. Yes, it's going to be exciting all round, and hopefully in a very positive excitement as far as the game goes. But that's all part of the future. But we can control so much of the future right now by really making this investment in making donations to the American Cancer Society, and also in ourselves by scheduling our mammography appointment, right?
Absolutely, yes. And know that your dollars are going to real folks. So, we have, and no donation is too small. So if you can only afford $10, great. You can do monthly donations through the cancer.org website, or you can make a one-time donation on the Making Strides website, knowing that all of the donations that are made on our Making Strides site are earmarked specifically for breast cancer research, as well as all of the amazing patient programs that we have available. So making sure that you make those donations to help support our cause, and then, like you mentioned, also making sure that you take care of yourself by scheduling your cancer screenings.
So perfect. Well, Aubrey Zoli, you are just such a wealth of information with so much energy and passion around this whole subject. I'm so grateful that we've had a chance to get this input and to get people motivated if they haven't already taken action on their own behalf.
Thank you so much, Kate, for giving me the opportunity to talk about Making Strides and the American Cancer Society. We really appreciate the platform to share the information about how you can help support the American Cancer Society, and also how we can help support you.
Absolutely true. So many thanks, Aubrey Zoli.
Thank you.
That brings us to the end of a very full hour of Inspirational Women with Aubrey Zoli and Sunday Morning Magazine with David McGee. I'm Kate Daniels, your host, and I greatly appreciate your sharing this hour with me and these special guests. For details you might have missed or information you'd like to know, please just send me an email, kated@warm1069.com, and I will get right back to you. Also, if you'd like to listen again or to share these important stories with your family and friends, find the podcast on our Warm 1069 webpage. Just click on the podcast tab, then either of the show names, and then look for the guest names. I now wish you and your family a day of being present and supportive to the family and to the community. Have a week of the same, and then please plan to join me again next weekend for another hour of Sunday Morning Magazine and Inspirational Women on Warm 1069. Good morning.